Hey everyone, and welcome back in another camp building tutorial video. Well, it's less like a tutorial and more like a showcase of how I actually turned a certain location into a themed sort of camp build. Right now we are down here at the basically very bottom left of the map. Even though there is no literal end of the map here, you can go as far down as you can here. It's still considered sort of the edge of the map, because right here or right over there you can no longer place down your camp, so that kind of signifies the official end of the map. There is another location that's interesting, and you can actually place down a camp there, but right here, the reason why I placed down my camp is there is a water. And in the S-ship where we are right now, it's pretty much the location with the least amount of water inside it. There are basically a few lakes and whatnot over here, but that's pretty much all about it. So it actually was kind of a surprising thing to find some water over here, and that's why the theme or sort of the name of this camp build is a fortified oasis. Because doesn't this oasis doesn't only give us water but also some energy, which I'm gonna be aiming to sort of fuel the entire camp with. And as you can see, I already placed up some sort of foundations and whatnot, because these are just sort of the boring parts. So basically, when you're placing down two foundations next to each other like this, and you have a third one, then you just basically remove the middle one, raise up the third, and then place back the middle one, so you can actually have a elevated third foundation right here. And this is the technique I used to go through all the way here. When I kind of reached the lowest point of my camp, I built up this sort of defensive position here. And if you don't know how you do this, then basically you need, of course, the one with the stairs, because that's the only thing you can put down. As you can see, this you cannot put down here. But if you put down the stair one, and if you then put down two on the side with the different version, because you can attach these to the other one, then if you do this and you put down a third one here, then once you put down the third one, you can delete the middle one. Then you can delete the stair one. Otherwise, it would say that you cannot delete the stair one because there is something attached to it. But for some reason, the game kind of ignores the third one being here, and you can just delete the middle one. Once you delete both of them, then you can start attaching back the same ones like this to the third one without needing a stair. So that's how I made this one here. And then after it was done, I just started building again on the other side of it. So yes, you see, it doesn't let you remove this stair in itself. And there we go. And basically just went through all the way here. I actually not gonna I'm not gonna stay with this foundation bare bones like this. Of course, I'll decorate it as sort of like a proper defensive perimeter around my camp. But then it sort of edges into my little CD shed here. That I think was kind of fitting with the theme. Then to sort of continue with the sort of walling, I was using some tire walls, some proper defensive structures here, and then continued again on with my foundations like this. By the way, if you're asking why I didn't use, the tires or whatnot all the way along, basically the tires, as you can see already in a sort of smaller amount there, because of the elevated plane or, the not completely flat plane, the tires will actually kind of float in the air, which I don't like. So pretty much the only, I don't know, somewhat remotely defensively usable kind of object is this foundation, because it actually sinks into the ground and thus not leaving any sort of, gap in between it and the ground. This kind of works the same way. As you can see, it actually uses the lower sort of plane to place its origin. But even like, for example, something like these walls here, as you can see, there is a gap here, and that's why I didn't want to make any more of this in the same row. But at the same time, I, for some reason, couldn't place these concrete walls here, so that's my reasoning for not having them here. But yeah, I'm pretty much just using, every single sort of defensive walling and whatnot here, as well as using one as this side of this building here, which I will be decorating later on. And yes, I got some foundations laid out here. There is a stair coming up here. There is a stair going down from the second flooring of it. You can go up here. This is just a sort of one width flooring, because I didn't want it to stick out too much into the air. Even now, I actually managed to pull up some sort of foundation, whatever this is calling. And yeah, basically with this, I think it looks like a proper foundation for a house, especially when I actually start putting walls next to it. Then we've got a sort of elevated lookout position to see over the entire camp, as you can see here. Kind of a good view. And again, I already put up some defenses here. For example, this turret, which has its range extended by the help of this spotlight. Because if you didn't already know, the spotlight's used in this game is that if you place it in the area of a turret, then the turret will have an extended range. So say this turret would only notice enemies from like, I don't know, 5 meters away, but with this help of this turret, it actually notices enemies even when they come through that gate over there, which is really helpful for keeping my camp safe. And now we are back around, and as you can see earlier, I placed up here a water purifier, a what's its name, the generator version of the water mill, which was added later on as the community was asking for it. A sort of road leading down to this whole place with the help of this elevated section here. There are some existing, shrines and whatnot here. That's why there's usually enemy spawns right in my camp as I fast travel in here, but nothing that my turrets cannot take care of. This is the lower level area. There is an altar stone, again not placed by me, and sadly I cannot remove it without the skeletons floating still here, so it's no real use to it. And here is my small little farm area, which I will be properly covering up with fences, but I have a technique to show for that, or a sort of useful tip, I guess. So I'm gonna be doing that before we do anything else. And so yeah, let's start with that, shall we? I'm gonna go to defenses, and if you didn't already know, of course the putting up fences like this, the fences like to stick into each other when you are facing or when they are facing around the same way. So even now it kind of tries to stick onto it, which is just completely meaningless. But I could potentially put it down here if I manage to squeeze it around. However, if you are facing an area which is not really possible to place down next to each other, then what you can do is just start off with a different foundation. So I will see that the fence that I'm trying to place down here is gonna reach about, let's see, come on game, about this far. So I'm just gonna pull this back here when it should end with the other fence. Gonna place it down and then instead attach it to this one, and it should be now behaving properly. But if not, then that means I just need to fiddle with it a bit more. Come on. And well, almost. If it still doesn't work out, which of course is entirely possible, then what you can do is, since you see that this fence has like two sides, this is the non-flat side, this is the flat side. So if you don't really care about cosmetic looks, then just flip it around and it won't even stick around in the fences, and I can just place it down here. It's still a fence, so it doesn't really matter too much. And now you can actually start doing this all the way around. As you can see, there is no weird clipping, and you can angle it the way you want it. The only sacrifice you make is some sort of visual fidelity, I guess. And there we go, just go around like this for the entire thing, and it should solve all your problems, which is marvelous. Or if you are actually really all about visual fidelity, then one more thing you can do, and then I actually might switch on to that. So, I got all of these fences for myself, but not the razor again, the fences please. Since I have something like a miscellaneous filler item, like, where is my floor decor? My tires, which should be here. I actually use my tires as sort of an in-betweener between these fences. So I'm just gonna put that down, and that's why the recent items is a good idea to use. So go to the very first tab, recent, and now you will be able to see that at the very top you have the fence and the tire set. So let's move down here, and I'm actually gonna be able to place this down here. There you go, and the tires are sort of the filler locations or filler items between my fencing. Also, why did you place it down on each other? Put it down on top of it. Thank you very much. There we go. Back to the fences. Come on, game. Don't be too stingy with me. There we go. And as you can see, I have a properly set up, non-clipping and kind of good-looking, I would say, farm area here. Also, I'm gonna take this out so it doesn't glorify itself there. Alright, we are done with this. Now how about we actually start building up our perimeter. And for that I'm gonna be going back and using either the fences, which are actually clipping to the side of this thing. So if you go back to the fences, for example, where is it? There it is. Of course you can actually snap these in here. As you can see, it actually snaps, which is useful. These don't snap. These are only snapping to the proper setup that the foundation, that's called the, where it is, the contemporary foundation, that's it. But the normal fences do stack. Also, these things stack, which I'm probably going to be using this time, as you can see. And right now it's already looking much more like a perimeter, and they don't take up that much budget anyway. There you go, you can even do this here. As you can see, it's much more continuous like this. And just moving about. There we go. Not there, game. I was asking you to put it here. There we go. See? It's already looking much, much nicer, much more visually pleasing, so to speak. And now we are here, and just use it all the way along here. And for some, oh, I cannot place this here because of course the foundation. But don't worry not, just remove this foundation, place down the fencing first, and then the build order again is gonna be set straight. So now you can place this down, and if you go back to the, where is it? The stairs. Then you now be able to place it down back again, see? Fallout76 many thing is about build order and nothing else, so keep that in mind. Alright, we are done with all of the perimetering, so now let's move on to some walling in this house. And for that, I'm not going to be using the wooden wall because I kind of dislike that, but instead I'm going to be using the warehouse wall for the very simple reason that with the warehouse wall, you can use the half-story wall, which has a windowed version and a non-window version. So right now what I can do is place down this here, and then place down this on top of it, and this way the window is actually higher than on the normal wall, which would be only this high. As you can see, it's actually much lower, which, you know, from this angle it doesn't really make sense. You kind of want the window to be higher because the, you know, elevation of the plane is so steep. So I can just do this instead and have this work out properly for me. And again here, and I can actually see through this walling here, which I probably wouldn't be able to do it as well with the normal walling. Marvelous. I can actually go back to my regular walls, which should look something like this. Marvelous. Give me some door section. Why can't I? Oh, god damn it. I think this wall is too close. Well, nothing we cannot fix, I think. Actually, I might be able to just leave this as it is, and maybe I'll be able to use this here instead. That works out for me just as fine. And it's apparently intersecting with an object, which is not what it should be doing, but game, are you feeling alright? Okay, for some reason, okay, if it does that, then just go to this place, and then store scrap replace, and press replace with T, and now I should be able to place this down here. There we go, it works. Tiny little accidents can happen, but these tips should help you fix those. Alright, we are going back to the building menu, and now I can actually use the proper windowed versions of this. There we go. And it again doesn't let me build for some reason, but that's all fine because I'm just gonna do this, then replace, and there we go. Problem solved again. Marvelous. Now I got everything set up, marvelous. And I already have some stairs over here, which is nice. So this is basically the house for now, and at least the first floor. For the second floor, I was thinking doing something similar. We are back to the walls, so I'm gonna be using half-story walls right now. Come on, game. So all of these half-story walls, there we go. Here, actually, I can no longer use half-story walls, so that's an issue. But I guess I'm gonna be just removing this because why not? So here, and yeah. For here, I'll have to be using, I'm guessing, a normal, proper doorway. We'll see how that works out. I am still thinking this through a bit. But basically, back going here with this, then there we go. There we go. There we go. And now, with the roofing, there should be an option that has both sides cut out. Or not. Okay, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. What I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be doing this thing. There we go, 1, 2. Marvelous. And to do that, I'm also gonna be using this thing. And now, with the roofing, I should be able to place these up here. Marvelous, okay, that's what I expected. And please let me place this one down as well. Perfection. Okay, there we go. Now I can actually still walk around here, but I have a proper second story to this building, which is nice, you know. It's actually something I should be able to work with. You just need to sort of work with floor mats now, but still, it works, so it's good enough for me. Now, before we do anything else, however, I wanted to do some more decorations here, or rather just defenses. Where is the defenses? Give me this. There we go. There we go. Cool beans. Alright. We're done with the house, so decorations comes later. I'm gonna be doing this off screen probably. For now, I just want to finish up the whole basic structuring. And for that, what I'm gonna be doing is... what did I want to do here? Actually, I'm kind of done with this. This is also just something that needs decorating. So I think right now I'm gonna be cutting it and I'll be back with some decorations. So I'll see you there. Alrighty, and here we are finally done with the camp build. And I'm actually recording this from the lower part of the camp outside. And as you can see, it's not really that eye-catching from this angle, but that's kind of the point because this is actually a fortified camp supposedly, a fortified oasis, so to speak. And if you go inside, still not much showing from the outside, but you can already see that there is some life going on in there. And you will notice immediately that I did set up a bunch of those, artificial bushes, to make the whole thing actually feel like that the oasis is having an effect on the life inside the camp. And first, let's go on the right because there's less going on there. Again, a few bushes set up here, a power armor crafting station up here. And the good thing about the, the sort of concrete foundations here is that you can actually snap the kind of concrete stairs in between the two. And even if it goes through it, it won't actually pop up any errors with it. And you can just kind of snap them together and have an elevated sort of foundation wall around your camp, which is really nice. So this is what I did overall here. As you can see, it goes all the way through to the end. With some storage boxes here for, maybe some weaponry and ammunition if you need to defend it on the perimeters. Then you can go through here. Again, just a few lightning spots on the camp side so that you can actually see in the night somewhat. Here we have got a bit of a kitchen area or sort of a feeding part, feeding ground. I don't know how to say this. The new cooking stove that I bought is actually really fitting here, so I'm glad that I actually bought it. A bit of the keg that you could get back in earlier this year from the whatever event it was, and some metal box for storing whatnot. But it doesn't end here because you can actually wash your hand and have a shit if that's what you need to do before or after lunch. And inside here, you will see that this isn't only sort of a checkpoint with the Raider Punk. Shut up, Raider Punk, I'm making a video. But it's also sort of a equipment storage place with your pistols and whatnot. I did this glitch that I did in the last one. I'm really still liking this sort of glitch with the, sort of shelf that is in here and the pistol racks. Looks kind of nice. And there are the sort of cutleries and bowls and whatnot, kitchenry for the lunch area, so it kind of continues here. Then you've got the vending machine here, which I still need to set up with items, but that's pretty much it. There is the Raider Punk actually joining the Foundation Settlers with the clothing. And up here I actually switched out this sort of defensive wall to a storage car rear or whatever it's called. I don't know what the name of this is. From the Free Estates bundle it was, I think, yes. Then we've got the, again, perimeter foundations on the side here, going all the way through here. I did try to put down this tree here, and it's actually kind of interesting because, as you can see, it actually does, reach outside of my building zone, but it still let me place it down, which is really nice. I was just kind of testing it, but also it's just good of an intimidation factor for anybody trying to attack this base. Then moving along, here is the Raider vendor because, again, he's kind of funniest for me at least, and doesn't sing off tone like the Fastnacht one does. Then we've got, of course, here that we missed so far the one that you've seen before, the farm area, and the, again, same, just generator and water purifier, which I might as well grab. Going up here, we got some more bushes placed down here to give more life and some trees. These trees, by the way, were placed down by me, as you can see. Then you can come up here, and finally we arrive at the house. There is a Scorchbeast Queen head again for intimidation and sort of showing off factor. And if you go inside here, then there is a bit of a hangout area down here. Nothing major, but it will do the job for you. They are playing Milky Way inside the Arctic as the new TV channel. And there is the useless ammo converter, but I still like to place it down in case they make it useful sometime. And there is the defensive spot that I showcased earlier, but the good thing about it is that I actually could pull the generator's wiring to that spot over there. Also, another thing with the spotlight, sorry, is that every time you sort of switch server or whatnot, you need to reattach the wire. It's a bit of a pain in the ass, but that's what actually switches it off, as you can see. I hope Bethesda will fix it at some point. Until then, we have to suffice with what it provides so far. Then we are moving up here, bit of a sort of, I don't know, again, just hangout area if you are tired from working in the workshop, which is this place here. As you can see, I actually use the lamps that you get from the legendary run. These are the firefly lamps, and the interesting thing about this is that it doesn't require any energy. So even though it does give you some light, it actually is free of any power source that you might need for them, which is nice. I wish I could showcase it in the night, but for now you have to just believe it for me. And I use it for every single workbench here, except this one. Then we've got some thematic equipment set up on the Thanksgiving display case. I really wish that they released some sort of a similarly functioning display case, but not with a Thanksgiving, but more of a rough look, you know, something like a makeshift display or something along those lines that's not covered up by glass like the other display cases. Then we've got, of course, a bit of a sort of, I don't know, sleeping area here. A few lockers to put down your clothing, maybe some to drop some drinks, and a bit of a good night table. And with 2 beds because I'm living here and the Raider Punk is living there. Alright, that's pretty much the entire camp. As you can see, now you can get a pretty good look of it from up here. And from the entire airship so far as well, which is really interesting. Also, one more tip before I go away. I actually noticed this, or well, rediscovered this rather when I was building. If and when you are building in the building menu, and something is just not trying to pop in place, but you're trying to reach it somewhat, then basically hold down E, and then if you're holding E, then with the mouse you actually can move it around really precisely on your screen instead of having to move your camera around. And as long as you're holding E, it's actually gonna work. And when you let go of the E, it's just gonna resume the normal movement and whatnot. So for fiddling around with very sensitive placements, this is a good way to do it. And no, it's not gonna place down the table when it's actually green. You can just move it around, and then when you release it, then it's gonna sort of put it down for you like this. There we go. So yeah, that's a useful tip I thought I might share. Alright, this is entirely the cam that you can see here. Hope you guys enjoyed and found this somewhat inspirational, and I see you in the next one. Goodbye.